Hey, this is Tony here with Salt Strong, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the Vudu Mullet made by Egret Baits. Now, this is a soft plastic lure that has a lot of action with the tail because it has that segmented body. And it also comes in different sizes. You have a 3.5 inch size that is a 1/4 ounce, or the weight is a 1/4 ounce. This is the 4.5 inch size that I have here. This is a 1/2 ounce. Then you have a 5.5 inch size, which is a little bigger than this, and that is a 1 ounce. Also, in the 4.5 inch size, you have one that is a little lighter, and they call it the slow sinking model, or slow sinker. So it doesn't sink as fast as the weighted ones. So if you wanted to work this a little higher up in the water column, or maybe in the middle of the water column, you can do that by using the slow sinker, which is in the 4.5 inch size. So as far as the pros and cons of the Vudu Mullet, what I found that I like about it is that it's very durable. It's made out of a very durable rubber material called TPE. It's basically the same stuff the bottoms of your shoes are made out of, so it's a very tough rubber material. Also, with the segments of the lure, most soft plastic lures that are segmented like that, they usually are just connected by the same type of rubber or plastic that the lure is made out of. Now with these, it's actually a woven material going through the entire section of the body there that holds those segments together. It's very tough, but it's very thin, so it allows for that natural swimming action of the lure. Another good thing I like about this lure, I like to call these types of lures search baits or power baits because they have a good size to them. They're very heavy. You can cast them out and you can retrieve them very quickly, basically searching for fish. So they cast very well because of how much weight they have, and also you can retrieve them very fast and it won't hinder the action. It'll just get that tail going really good. So great search baits, especially if you're in a new area, you just want to make a bunch of casts, see if there's fish around. So definitely a plus because of the ability to cast it very well, and also the great action it has when you do retrieve it pretty fast. And then lastly, the last thing I like about it is the detail. It has a very good detail to the lure as far as the coloring and the look of it. You can see the scales in there if you look up closely. Also, it has those 3D eyes that really pop out and stand out, and just an all-around good detailed look to the lure to give it that realism. And now moving on to what I don't like about the lure, going back to the durability. I mentioned the body of the lure is very durable. However, when it comes to the hook, not so much. These single hooks or single treble hooks, what happens is when you just have one treble hook on there, all the pressure from the fish hooked onto that lure is all on one hook, as opposed to a lure that has multiple treble hooks where you're almost distributing the force from that fish amongst the 3 different treble hooks, or however many are on there. So with one hook on there, it can bend very easily, it can break, and if it does break, you're kind of out of luck because there's no extra hook for that fish to get hooked onto if it does break off of that one. So what I highly recommend is replacing the treble hook with a very heavy duty treble hook, or possibly even a single inline hook, depending on your preference. Because my experience with these silverish or gray colored hooks is that they bend very easily. So that is what I feel is the weakest part of this lure, and the lure is only as strong as the weakest link. So definitely make sure you upgrade those treble hooks to either a single or a more heavy duty treble hook. And now one last thing I didn't like about these, and it's more of just being aware and paying attention to how you store them, is that if you store these with any other soft plastic baits and they're touching, it's going to cause a reaction and it's going to almost look like the lure just melted. So you want to make sure you don't store these around other lures. What I highly recommend is keeping the packaging that it came with, and it has a little tray inside the packaging that the lure was sitting in. So when you're done using it for the day, just rinse it off thoroughly, make sure it's dry, and once it is dry, you can just put it back into that little tray that the lure was sitting in, and then you can put it back into the original packaging like so. You can either just tape it shut or just leave it like that, let it sit in your tackle box so that the lure isn't touching any other soft plastics in the box. Even if it's touching another lure that is the same, such as the same Vudu Mullet, it will still cause that reaction and it will actually melt or stick together. So definitely make sure you're not storing these with any other lures. So that will wrap up this review of the Vudu Mullet made by Egret Baits. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Also, if you want to actually see this lure in action catching fish in our detailed fishing reports we put out for our club members, definitely check out our Salt Strong Fishing Club at saltstrongclub.com. So until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.